Morning, everybody. You're here with me, Michael from Woodville Accountancy, and Claire, one of my colleagues. So today's webinar, we've not done one for a few weeks. Basically, we're going to go through, summarise the help available for businesses through the coronavirus period that's ongoing, and we'll answering questions as we go. So if anyone's got any questions as we go, please put them in. If you've seen any of these before, you know Steph's done it. Probably not going to be as slick as Steph today, but I'm sure we'll get there. So yeah, hi Claire, thanks for joining.
Hi. Okay, so we'll start off with the first question. Can you summarise the main areas of help the government have given us?
Yeah, so I won't go into everything in too much detail, but basically, if you've got staff and they can't work because they're affected, then there's the furlough scheme or the coronavirus job retention scheme. Furlough's not a word anyone, or I'd at least heard until, 6 weeks ago now. If any of your staff are off with coronavirus, you can reclaim the sick pay off the government, providing you're a small business under 250 staff. If you're only VAT or your July payment for self-assessment, they've both been deferred. So VAT till next April, so April 2021, and the July payment's been deferred till January. There's business rate relief for retail, leisure, and holiday businesses. So if you've got a rateable value up to 51,000, there's none payable for 2021. Although we have seen one of our businesses that we look after who's not on the webinar, they've got a garage in Bolton, and Bolton Council have taken their first payment of £1,000 when they shouldn't have done. So we picked up on that last week on the bookkeeping. There's business support grant funds. So if you rent property or you operate from a business premises and your rateable value is under 15k, then you can get a £10,000 cash grant. Or if your rateable value is between 15 and 51 and you operate retail, leisure or hospitality, you can get up to £25,000. The government's announced over the weekend, and we'll touch on this later, if you've got a shared office space, say you're in a hot desking potentially, or you're in an office that doesn't have its own valuation office like license, then there's additional potential grant funding the government released to local authorities to decide what to do with it. If you're self-employed, there's a self-employed income support scheme, which we've got a lot of questions about that, so we'll touch on in a bit. And then there's 2 loan schemes available now. So the Coronavirus Business Interruption Loan Scheme, or CBILS as I'll refer to it, and also the Bounce Back Loan, which has just crashed the British banking website because that's gone live an hour ago. So yeah, quite a lot to go through.
Yep, just a bit. Okay. Secondly, the furlough scheme is now paying out. Have there been any changes from what we knew a few weeks ago?
Yeah, so the furlough scheme, and I think this is what swamped our business. We've gone from 1 member of staff working full time to 3 members of staff at times working on payroll, myself included. The main things that have changed are the government have said you do need to give or keep paperwork now between yourself and your employee, the agreement of you being furloughed, and you need to keep that for 5 years. So very similar to what you would keep for business records. So basically what that is just a signed document between yourself or the employer and the employee saying they've been furloughed and what they're agreeing to. We've sent out forms for this before, so if anyone wants one or needs another one because they can't find it, just ask us and we'll ping it across. There's a 3-week minimum furlough period. So if you furlough, you can't have them furloughed one day in the next. They've got to be off for 3 weeks. We've not seen a minimum coming back into work furlough, but I know a few of our customers have furloughed themselves for 3 weeks. They've come back for a few days. They're like the directors. They've come back for a few days to do a few days worth of work, and then they've re-furloughed themselves. And the government's been pretty clear on what you can't do. So you can't do anything that generates any income, even emails and messages. And they've even said that they would recommend that you put an autoresponder on, just saying that you're furloughed. Now, Steph's done that, 'cause Steph's furloughed in our business due to childcare. So whatever, if you are furloughed, just make sure if you furloughed your staff, make sure you're following the guidance, because you don't want to trip yourself up on something. Because I do think the revenue are going to come down quite heavy, which is why they've given the 5-year rule. It might not be anything we see for the first 12 months after we come out of whatever the lockdown is, because they are going to be swamped. But I guarantee they're going to get around to it at some point.
Okay. All right. Then the next question is from Michelle at Create. And others have been asking the same question. How does the annual leave work for furloughed staff?
Yeah, so it accrues the same. You retain all your employment rights. So if you furlough for 3 months, then effectively you're building up 3 months worth of annual leave. What they've said is that you can carry over annual leave for a couple of years, whereas it was only 1 year. But what they've said is you can use, and I'm looking at another screen, you can use the furlough money to pay 80% of the salary. So just let me see if I can find the example that we were talking about. I'll have to go into Teams. In fact, what I'll do is I'll email the example round to all our customers later. So if anyone's not on our mailing list, let me know, and I'll get you on the mailing list, and I'll send around the example later to basically show that if someone has a week off, then you need to top them up with 20% of their salary for that week. But effectively, the government's going to pay the 80%. So it could be an idea, if you do have staff that are off for the 3-month period, that you can't force your staff off, but you can give them minimum notice periods to use up their annual leave. And I think it'd be a sensible decision to at least get them to use the annual leave in that period during the furlough period. Because otherwise, and especially bars and restaurants, we look after a few of them, then if they only reopen towards the back end of the year, when typically they're going to be busier, you don't want your staff taking time off in December when you want to be trying to recoup any lost earnings over this period now.
Simon has just asked on the back of that, what happens to the holidays that were booked in before they were furloughed? So do they have to take them, or is it down to managers' discretion?
Yeah. So I guess if your staff have been furloughed and they're not requesting that they cancel the holidays, let them take the holidays. If you obviously, you would then need to top them up. But if you're not in a position to be able to top them up because you're not generating any income, you can cancel the holidays. But again, I think in all these cases, you just need to have a chat with your staff and just be honest with them. If cash is tight, and it's more than understandable in this period, just have that conversation with them. And I'm sure most staff members are going to be agreeable in this period with whatever you're deciding. Yeah, I've just seen another question. Loving the background, Michael. It's from Nigel. Do you have any information on insurance interruption period, as no one's been paying out due to COVID-19 on a list as it's not a new disease? Yeah, this is something that I think it's in the news quite a bit. It's not something I've looked into, but I got a Sunday roast from one of our customers yesterday, and they were telling me that their insurers are being very similar. I think it's to do with the fact that COVID-19 wasn't on the notifiable disease list at the time you took out the insurance. So they're following the letter, not the spirit, is the news I'm sort of hearing at the moment. That I've not seen anything, but if you let us look into that, Nigel, I'll come back to you on that when we get a bit more info. I know you've also asked, is there any requirement for paying landlords, and what help do they get? It's all informed speaking to landlord to defer. Again, I think it's the same as staff. Have a conversation with them. I imagine the argument coming back from landlords at the moment will be, you've just received your grant. That's what it's there for, because I think that's the way the government are looking at it, is to try and pay your fixed costs during this period. I've heard some people buying hot tubs with it. I think I've just seen that on Facebook and LinkedIn, or maybe one of the accountants groups I'm in. But I think that's why the government have give you the money over this period, is to try and maintain your fixed costs. between now and when you reopen. Richard White, Charlie's answer to Martin Lewis. Bounce back loans. We're going to get to them in a bit, Richard. Cheers. Quite got that far, mate.
Okay. Simon has asked about the bounce back loans. Oh. What are they?
So they were released last week. Was it last Monday? I think the Chancellor announced them. They're aimed at predominantly small businesses. The loans are between £2,000 and £50,000, and the most you can claim is up to 25% of your turnover. So if you're 200k or more turnover, you'd be limited to £50,000. The difference between these and the coronavirus, or the CBILS, is these are 100% government backed. The CBILS are typically only 80%. Although if you borrow up to 250k on the CBILS, and there shouldn't be a personal guarantee. I had a quick look on the website this morning on the gov.uk website. The guidance has been updated. It links you through to the British banking website, which was working at about 40 minutes ago, but has now crashed. So everyone must be sharing the link, and it's crashed. But basically, there's no interest or repayments to pay for the first 12 months. So the government's going to cover that. I don't think they'll pay you repayments for the first 12 months, just saying you won't need to pay it. So the capital amount will stay the same. And after that, there's going to be interest at 2.5%. Now, you need to be able to demonstrate that your business wasn't undertaking difficulty on the 31st of December. Apparently, it's going to be a very simple form, a 2-page form, I think they promised. And you can't apply if you have or are applying for a CBIL. But if you have one, you can change it to a bounce back loan. So a couple of our customers have taken out loans under 50k. It could be worth potentially swapping that over to a CBIL, to a bounce back loan, from a CBIL.
Okay, right. What is the self-employed income support scheme, and how will that work?
Yeah, so this is aimed at the self-employed, answers in the title, I guess. And basically, if you're employed, if you were self-employed and filled in a tax return for 2018-19, and that was submitted before the 23rd of April, there's help available to you. There's more information around it now, especially around partnerships. And yeah, but you need to have submitted your tax return by the 23rd of April. You need to have traded in the last tax year, so for 2019-2020, and you need to be expecting to trade for 2020-21. I imagine they've put that in because they appreciate some people may not come out of this still trading in the current businesses. Some businesses may or could be decimated. They might not even be able to trade in this tax year. You need to be able to demonstrate your business has been adversely affected by the coronavirus. I was going to say probably all businesses could be affected, but my next door neighbour was in touch with me over the weekend over the garden fence at a 2-metre distance, saying that he's having his tree cut down. And he was telling me that the tree surgeon said to him, business has been busier than ever, and he's not been affected. So maybe some businesses won't be able to apply, although I'm sure everyone will be able to make an argument for it. So you just need to be able to show that you've either been affected personally by coronavirus, maybe you've been shielding, maybe you lost contracts, maybe you've just not been able to get to work. So, or be able to demonstrate a slowdown in trade. Some businesses will be easier than others, but I think the government are going to be pretty lenient on it. They've announced over the weekend, or the guidance to be getting clearer as we've been going further into it, that tax agents won't be able to make the claim. I don't know why we won't be able to, considering all the work we've done for furlough, but that's another argument. You will need a gateway account. So if you're self-employed and you've not got a gateway account, you need to apply for one. Again, we'll be sending a link out for this because we'll need to, and probably text messages, because all our customers will need to know about this. If you don't have a gateway, make sure you apply for it. But if you've also given your gateway details to someone else, this has sometimes happened with people maybe doing larger tax refund claims for them. Make sure you get it back. Yeah, it's absolutely crucial, because if you've not got that gateway or someone else has got access to it, potentially you're going to struggle getting your money. Yeah, your profits also. So in terms of who can claim for it, your profits you need to have been under £50,000 in the last 3 tax years. There are some examples on the revenue on the Gov website. One year could have been over if the other two weren't, but then your average drops, and the maximum you can claim is £2,500 per month. They're expecting it to be paid early June, and the communication is going to be going out to customers middle of this month. So that's probably going to be going out by email and letter. They'll be inviting you to join the scheme via your gateway. And because the revenue already have your details in terms of submitting electronic tax returns, I think it's just going to be a really, really straightforward process. It's going to be on taxable profits. So that would be after deducting things like capital allowances. So if you have bought, say, a van at the end of 2018-19, but sensible tax planning maybe, unfortunately, that is going to hit you now. Because if you bought a van for 25 grand or 20k, then that's going to reduce your profits in that tax year by 25k. And what else was I going to do? Something else? Yeah, so the grant is taxable. So it will go onto the 2020-21 tax return, and it will also count as income for universal credits purposes. So if you are claiming universal credits currently, next month when you receive the money, so the end of June or early July, when you declare your income for that month, you'll need to tell them that you've received it. So yeah, I think that covers it. I think what I was going to say about the partnerships as well, because I think a potential new customer we were speaking to, his partnership profits were 75k, and I think it was the Federation of Small Businesses early doors were saying that because the taxable profits for the partnership were over 50, he won't be able to claim. But there's an example on the revenue website. It's per partner. So providing in that example, if each partner is claiming 50% each, they will receive the money because they're over 50.
Okay, thank you. Right, Gary has asked, how can he keep his business going during the coronavirus, and how will he go about reopening the hotel after?
Yeah, sorry, you just froze a bit then. Yeah,
sorry.
So, no, it's all right. So Gary, I can see you're on the call. You're not a customer of ours yet, and so we don't know much about your business other than what you've asked here. But here are some ideas. Firstly, cut what you can, and that's expenses. Make sure all non-essential expenditure has been reduced or removed, and then claim what you can. So go through the government help process, which is what we spoke about earlier. Make sure you've got your grant. If you operate a B&B and pay council tax as opposed to business rates, the additional funding is expected to cover things like that. So get onto your local council. Some councils are more responsive than others. I don't know where you're based, but just get onto them and just keep badgering them. Go onto the Facebook feed, go onto the Twitter feed, LinkedIn feed, wherever they are most active on social media. Go there, email them, ring them. Just keep logging. Make sure your staff are furloughed where you can if you've got staff. And if you've no work, make sure you're on the payroll. If it is a limited company, make sure you furloughed yourself. If it's a self-employed trade, make sure you're claiming the self-employed income support scheme grant as well. Potentially look at a bounce back loan. They're 100% backed by the government, but I guess potentially if the business fails afterwards, and the property is separate to the company, you just need to have a think about the structure of the business there. So yeah, I know it sounds quite vague, but we don't know too much. If you want to book a call later with me, I'll email you a link, and then have a think about income generation. Unfortunately, your industry is just hit hard. But can you offer rooms? Me and Claire were talking about this morning on your question. Can you offer rooms to the NHS or government workers? I think is it White's up the road to us in Bolton. I think they're doing something very similar. So yeah, some hotels are open doing that. If you serve food or have a restaurant, can you do takeout or delivery? Even if you've not done that before, I guess just any ways to try and generate income. Because unfortunately, I think this could be at least another few months in your industry before you are going to be able to reopen. And then start having to think now about what you can do when you do reopen. How can you ensure there's social or physical distancing when you open? Ireland over the weekend, and it's been in the news today, have announced their plan for getting everything reopened. I think, is it pubs are open? Is it 10th of August or something? I imagine all these dates are going to change. but it sounds like they've got a much more publicised plan than what we have in the UK. I'm not saying it's better or different, but much more publicised. So have a look to see what they're doing, announcing in Ireland, see if there's anything you can start to implement now or start thinking about in your hotel. Do you need the plastic screens to shield between you and staff and customers coming in? Different cleaning protocols. Yeah, so I think just have a look to see what other countries who are maybe further down the chain in terms of or further down the curve than what we are. You just want to see what they're announcing and pull whatever ideas you can into your business.
Right, Chris has asked how it goes about to claim the loans.
Yeah, so there's two types of loans, as I said, the CBILS and the bounce back loan. The CBILS, you can claim up to turnover up to 45 million, and there's no personal guarantee up to 250k. So the first step, and I think this is going to be the same between, so the bounce back loan is between 2 and 50k, and it's you can claim the lower amount of between the 2 and the 50, or 25% of your turnover, for annual turnover, I should say. And that's at fixed 2.5% interest. So firstly, you're recommended to go through your bank. Some banks are being more agreeable than others. I've heard HSBC are a bit of a nightmare. NatWest are pretty good from what we've seen. We've also heard, and this has come from a big firm, from one of our customers based in Manchester, they're getting better responses where customers are submitting the claims rather than accountants. So we're working on a few at the moment with customers, and we're getting the information together, but we're going to get the customer to send it as though they've sent it from themselves. And the one I'm writing at the moment is in the customer's language. So it's I guess it's just different words than what we'd use, maybe less technical. But on that NatWest claim, is for our customer, it's gone straight through. So yeah, first claim, first port of call is to go through your bank and the online banking portal. Everyone's struggling to get through on the phones. Banking staff are all working from home. They're reduced. The people aren't working, and I think they're just overwhelmed with the amount of calls that they're getting in. I think in one of the last calls, I think Tom had said that he'd been waiting 3 weeks, or maybe on the WhatsApp group that we've got, been waiting 3 weeks for a call back from Barclays. I think you're better off going through the portal. And then if you can, we've also got access to a portal. We use Capitalise, so we can do like lending applications through there as well. And then basically they're going whole of market for whoever's accredited for the loans anyway. So yeah, if you're struggling with your bank, let us know. Anything you need us to look at, again, we can look at and help you with, even if it's filling in the application form. And then we can go from there.
Okay. On the loan situations, I've been asked, is the limit 5 million for the new business loan?
Do you mean turnover limit, Simon, or the amount you can borrow? You mean the turnover limit? No, 45 million. So you can be turning over up to 45 million. That's 45, not 425 million. Yeah. Yeah. So the business bounce back, if you're talking about that, you can you can borrow up to 50k on that. But the CBILS, I'm not sure what the limit is. I've seen some on one of the accountants groups I'm on where they've borrowed up to 500k at 2.7, I think 2.7%.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Richard's put in the Q&A. Charlie, can I ask if bounce back loans are a no-brainer as a safety cushion for our business? I think if the cash flow stacks up afterwards and you need that safety cushion, and income has dropped, or you just need that cushion, then I don't want to say yeah, because of that we're not authorized to give sort of lending advice, but it's an option. And it in terms of protecting your business, it's 100% protected by the government, covered by the government. So if your business does fail after, which in your case I don't see why it would at all, but if it did, then you're not going to be personally guaranteed for the debt. I mean, it says on the it says on the government website, banks cannot and should not be asking you for a personal guarantee on this loan.
Okay. Right. With the VAT holiday, do I still need to submit my VAT returns?
You can answer this, Claire.
Yes, is the answer. All VAT returns must be filed on time. It just helps the HMRC know exactly where they're at, and if in the future you do need any help with repayments, it's always better to have all your returns filed and up to date.
Yeah, and if nothing else, you know where you're at then, because you can start you can put that figure into your cash flow, because effectively that is another loan off the government, still got to be paid back. But next, is it 31st of March, 5th of April, I think, next year?
31st of March is the date they've given that it needs to be paid by, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Martin. Cheers, Richard.
Okay. Have the rates grants been extended to serviced offices?
Yeah, they have in some cases. So the government have said we are asking local authorities to prioritise businesses in shared spaces, regular market traders. Now, I know Chorley Council have paid out all the market traders, so they've all got 10k each. Small charity properties that would meet the criteria for small business rate relief, and bed and breakfast that pay council tax rather than business rates. So there's there is a I'll tell you what, I'll put that in the chat now. COVID, I'll put the link in there now. But yeah, that is been extended.
Okay, cool. Right, Thomas asked for answers to the unknown. Do you have any enlightening information for him?
So I will say, well, Tom is a Liverpool fan. I think there's at least one Man United fan here. So I think his most important question is, will Liverpool win the league? But oh well, let's see if anyone comments. I know you've got the grant money and the furloughing staff. I guess because you operate in the retail sector, you're potentially going to be, along with leisure and hospitality, hardest hit for a period of time. I think now I'd be looking, again, maybe similar to what Ireland are going to do, because they're a bit further down the curve than what we are and they're starting to announce things. I'd start thinking about how you can open as soon as possible, as safely as possible. Does it mean, and yeah, the restaurant I went to yesterday, they put markings on the floor where you could stand. They operated a little one-way system in and out of the restaurant. So you went in one door, picked up your food, went out of the back entrance back onto the car park. And do you need to get some perspex screens? Obviously in your industry that might be difficult, but I think I'd be thinking now, how can you open as safely as possible, as soon as possible? Yeah. But as it's unknown, I don't know. We'll just keep announcing stuff as it comes out and try and do a few more of these and maybe what we were. I think that's all our questions, isn't it?
It says it's all the ones we already have. I don't know if there's any more.
Yeah. Has anyone got any other questions that we've not covered? Or does anyone want to say hi or come on? Anyone in the Q&A? Oh, Nigel. Does that mean you can put your hand up? Oh, have we got what a question? Got my hand up. Right, okay. Well, we'll do the allowed to talk. Nigel? Oh, we muted him.
Hello.
Hi, mate.
Hi there. Hi. Loving the background, by the way, Mike.
Oh, yeah. I learned it yesterday.
Yeah, oh, Steph as well. Just a question, because I know you're saying about the insurance and not paying out for interruption period because COVID's not been listed and it's a new disease. But if the government are doing interruption loans, will that reflect on the interruption period with an argument as insurers? Because if the government are saying they're doing interruption loans, there's obviously an interruption period. Because obviously I'm going to be putting a claim in because they first said that we were entitled to it at the very beginning and then they've reneged on it. So I'm just thinking, if the government are using that word interruption, is that an argument I can use with the insurance?
UK companies. I'll be honest, it's not something I've looked into a great deal. Can I come back to you on it? Is that Irish? an Irish website. I'm just googling it now as we
That's
speak.
fine, yeah.
The
That,
FCA,
that word
Financial Conduct
interruption's a
Authority,
key word, isn't it?
is to seek legal clarity on business interruption insurance in response to widespread concerns and uncertainty about the basis on which some firms are making decisions relating to the current pandemic. So they're trying to take them to court, and I imagine they'll be trying to do it across the board.
Yeah. I have heard of a few small claims going through regarding insurance companies, but I'm just thinking if the government are using the word interruption, that should kind of have an argument against insurers, should it not? You can look into it, no rush.
Yeah. So it says here, the FCA expects these firms to reply to it to clarify position by no later than the 15th of May. So it's like days. So by next Friday, I think. Yeah, by next Friday. So we'd be hoping to get more information by then. Yeah, unfortunately, until then, Nigel, I think you've got to try and sit tight, really. I think I'd still be badgering your insurers. Did you use a broker or have you gone direct?
I use a broker, and they have been a little bit helpful, but not the most, because he said he's in the same situation as us. They are a family business. But it's just that when I've been looking into it, it's if the government use the word interruption, it's got to be a case. If I have to put a claim through, I've got to put the claim through directly with the insurance company, not the broker.
Yeah.
So I'll keep looking into it. I do have one more question as well for you.
Yeah.
With regards to landlords, I know you've got a couple of landlords that you help out. So obviously, my landlord knows that we're entitled to a grant. But what help do the landlords get? Because if he's pushing me for, obviously we are trying to pay the rent, but if he's pushing me because he knows we've got a grant coming, what help do the landlords get so I can just counterbalance an argument with him?
There's nothing been announced specifically for landlords, to my knowledge at least anyway. So I would imagine they're entitled to the same sort of help in business that you would be. But I mean, just having a quick look over this. They're not going to get any grant funding. If they've got any staff, they'll be able to furlough them. If they can't work, they'll be able to get the VAT holiday and the self-assessment holiday. They'll be able to get a loan, but I'm not sure if property businesses might have some sort of exclusion because they're already going to be, if they've already got mortgages, then they're going to be already borrowed up on those, aren't they?
Right, yeah. Just curious, because sometimes it's nice to have a counterbalance argument because he knows we're getting the loan, the granting.
Yeah.
So it's just obviously like most of our grant money will be spent on paying rent back. So just if there's any counterbalance argument for him, but maybe not.
No, I don't think so.
Right.
Yeah, I think just keep communicating with him, to be honest, or them as a company.
Yeah. All right, that's cool.
Cool. Right, Nige.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
You, mate. Anyone else got hands up? I did see one before. I've got a question here. I've been renovating my hotel for the last 5 years. The hotel's now fully renovated, therefore I never made a profit. Yeah, the bounce back loan, definitely. So therefore I've never made a profit as everything had been invested back in the company. Due to this, I've not been eligible for the business interruption loan and instantly declined. I'll be applying for the hardship fund and bounce back loan today. However, can I appeal or would I be able to contact local MP or anyone? Yeah, I mean, 100% contact your local MP. That's what they're there for. I think a lot of them are still doing surgeries on Fridays, but they might be Zoom ones. To be honest, I don't look, but I would imagine they're still going on. The bounce back loan should be relatively straightforward for you. You just have to be able to prove that you wasn't undertaking difficulty on the 31st of December, and you can borrow up to 25% of your turnover. So providing you're up and above 200k, Gary, you will be able to borrow the full 50. So I would just make sure you furloughed everybody. You're making use of your VAT holiday if it is there. You're not paying any rates in this year now. If you do have a rateable value above 15,000 and below 51. Yeah, unfortunately, you're just in that really tough industry that's been hardest hit. I think the bounce back loan, from what you're saying, is going to be your best bet at the moment. Is there anything I missed there, Claire?
No, I think you mentioned everything that you can do it for the time being.
Yeah, Colin's asked here.
Yeah.
What are you? Tell you what, you can come on. I like to talk. Colin, can you? How's he gone?
Hello.
Hey, mate.
Hiya. You all right?
What are you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not
Good.
stuck crazy yet, but I'm, not far off. But yeah, no, just a question on the bounce back loans. I don't know whether you know or not, but would they seem to be going to be a bit easier to take up the bounce back loans?
Yeah.
I'm sure I've read somewhere that there's possibly the option of, once you've got a bounce back loan, you can swap it to a Sybil's if you need the extra revenue. Have you seen anything similar to that?
No, I've not. They've announced you can go the other way, so you can go from a Sybil to a bounce back.
Yeah.
I know you've been waiting on a call back from me for the past few days, so maybe we have a quick call after this call, Colin, just to go through and go through your updated cash flow and see if there's anything we can help you with. I would always say make sure you borrow enough rather than think, well, just take 20 grand now and then if I need another 20 grand, I'll go and get it. If you think it's likely you're going to need the full 40, I would borrow the full 40 now if that's what the cash flow is showing. Because I guess we're in that unknown phase, especially until Boris has his talk to the nation later this week when he starts talking about how we're coming out of lockdown.
Yeah.
About how we're going to get back to work.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm working on now. It's not going to be full steam ahead when we go back. It's going to be staged, so we're not going to get the full cash. We're certainly not going to be anywhere near full cash flow. Certainly not for a good month or so. We're going to be creeping back basically. So my plan is probably next week to start getting the sites ready again, and then we've got a good couple of weeks just to get things moving. So you got a good month at least, before you start seeing any cash flow coming in. So it's just covering me back, really, exactly what I need.
Yeah, I'd always say borrow more than what you. Well, no, I won't say borrow more than what you need, but it's probably not the time to be erring on the side of caution.
Yeah.
But I can see the difficulty, because if you needed to only borrow 55, but you just want to borrow 50, so then it's 100% government back just in case. But then you just don't want to be $5,000 shy if you've got a big supplier payment to make.
To be honest, if the Sybil's, I'd rather go for the Sybil's because it does open up a little bit more on the cash flow side. It's just, I've tried making contact because I bank with Santander, and I tried making contact with the bank last week via LinkedIn. The area development manager, and it's trying to get hold of him is pretty much next to impossible. So it's just, I'd rather go for Sybil's, but it's just it seems to be a lot easier with the bounce back loans, or supposed to be anyway.
Yeah, I think until there's more guidance out, and currently, like I said, the British banking website's crashed. It's back on, but they mustn't have scaled it. Yeah, they mustn't have expected what we were going to get this morning. But
well, give us a call when you're free later, mate.
Yeah, possible. Yeah. I'll do it straight after this, Colin.
All right, bud. No worries. Thanks, Michael.
Cheers, mate. Simon. Hi, Simon.
Hello, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so I'm yet to do my cash flow from a bounce back loan. 50k will work for my business. I bank with a TSB, awful bank, but there you go. But I also have a NatWest account, which I use at the moment. I use for rapid cash. So my question is, with the 2.5% interest rate that you talked about earlier, what I found in the past is that banks will tell you that it's 2.5%, and then it will rise and things like that, or maybe in the second year it will go up, or the third year. I just want to know, is the 2.5 set in stone? That's standard, nothing will change, and they can't do anything about it?
Well, this is being recorded, Simon, so I'm definitely not going to give you that sort of guarantee. However, that's what the Chancellor said, and I think that's all we can. Let me see if I can get on. Oh, it's back open. So, interest. Where did I see the 2.5%? Have you seen that as well, Claire?
Yeah, somewhere.
But it was 2.5%. It was fit. I think I saw it on Rishi's.
After the first year, wasn't it?
I think I saw it on his Instagram. It shows quite maybe high start. My Instagram feed is. Interest. Bounce back loan. Interest rate. Yeah. It's on the Guardian, 2.5%. The FT, 2.5%. Yeah. There's nothing I've seen talking about a from rate. It's on Santander's website, 72 months fixed. It says it on their website. I'm not saying that they can't change it in future, Simon. I would say read the small print, see if it's 2.4% above base rate or something. But I think the fact that they're saying it's fixed would indicate that they'll fix it, because I think they'll get a lot of upset small businesses if they go and start changing things.
I'd agree. I think the 2.5% is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I can't believe how much the government have done for us. It's like, when they're going to pull out, the problems for us. It's too good to be true.
Well, that's coming next year. Well, I think that's coming in the next 12 months. I mean, they've already announced for the self-employed, on the day they announced the self-employed income support scheme, they said that they need to address the disparity between the differences on national insurance. I think it's 9% for self-employed and 12% for employed currently. So I think straight away there's going to be it's going to be a 33% rise, isn't it, for the self-employed on the national insurance when it goes from 9 to 12. And I don't know. I definitely think there'll be something on VAT. But at the moment they're just trying to make sure everyone can keep going, and you're completely right. The fact that they're backing these loans 100% is amazing. It's definitely, I don't tend to consider borrowing, but I am doing at the moment. 100%.
Yeah, why not? Those rates. Pay off your personal loans, eh?
Yeah. Well, it does say in the guidance you can't use it personally. I don't know quite how they'll monitor that. But I think if your personal loan's been used in the business, which I know some people on this call have been, then I do think that you'd be able to do that.
Yeah, I have loans myself, to be honest with you, and the ones for the business is for 25k at 6%. So I'm sort of like thinking to myself, well, I could save myself 3.5% there. However, I'd probably use the 50k to be fair.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Thank you.
All right, cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Right, has anyone else got any questions? Want to stick the hand up or jump on the chat? Yeah, Gary, thank you. Hopefully get some positive news. Yeah, just keep badgering him. Gary, whoever you can, local council, MP, everyone's there to try and help where they can. Us. Great, no one else is putting their hand up or typing a question. Right, guys, thanks very much. We'll, unless anyone puts a hand up now, then we'll end the call, and we'll make sure we get a recording of this out once I work out how to sort that later. And thanks, Claire, for jumping on.
No problem.
One more. Let's have a look. Oh, thanks, guys. Right, cheers, Nigel. Guys, see you later.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.